I'm a little sick today, so please forgive my kind of congested voice and visibly exhausted demeanor. I wanted to continue trying to kind of force myself into doing these videos. Okay, my mom has dementia. That is something that has become an increasingly major part of my life. You know, probably at this point, a lot of my autobiographical identity has to do with the fact that my mom has dementia. If I were to think about the events in my life that have had the most significant changes, the most significant impact on me, it's becoming a mother and then having to become my mother's mother, because that's something that inevitably happens once the people that have raised us, once our elders reach a point where they start becoming childlike. It forces you to completely reassess who you are and what your relationship is together in a way that is really only rivaled by becoming someone else's mother. Yeah, that's been a massive change for me that, it's almost a cliche to say that you never get used to dementia, but it's true. You never get used to dementia. You never get used to a significant parent's ongoing and terminal illness. You never get used to it because there's always a different stage that causes you to have to meet them and meet yourself in a totally different way than you have ever known before. I ended up writing later that night about sitting at a diner and knowing that you will never get closure from this other person because this other person doesn't remember the things that you want closure from. And at that time, there was a bit of resentment, like a mournful resentment about that, because I think a lot of people put too much emphasis on this idea of closure, a myth of closure, that's somehow something necessary that has to happen. The hero's journey there has to be some penultimate battle down there. I mean, it's anticlimactic if you go to hell alone and then you just walk back up and you're like, oh, okay, well, that was there. Now I know hell is there, and now I know how to walk upstairs again. Anyway, rambling again. Yeah. In the years since that diner, and since I wrote that, I really stopped caring about closure, and I stopped caring about the sense of loss that comes along with knowing that you're never going to have this moment with this other person where they apologize or explain, why they did the things that they did. It's never going to happen, and it's okay. Maybe the battle, the climactic battle, is just a completely silent, private, passive, internal process where I battled with myself and then decided to take that on, that it didn't matter. Why would it matter? Like when you see your mother, her brain is turning into pudding before us. Her body is failing. She's soft. She is completely different and the same and more true and totally alien. It's a lot of things. But she's innocent. She's completely innocent. And the things that, we went through together that I thought I wanted closure from, it doesn't matter anymore, because all that matters is this moment, and making sure that this moment is what it should be, what this rite of passage is what it should be. She is going through something transformational. She is preparing to leave this world, and she's leaving bit by bit. And that is the most, other than childbirth, that is the most significant right that a human will go through. And as a child, as a witness, as someone that just exists in the same world as her, as this is happening, we have a decision to make of what's actually important to do at this moment, at this pivotal moment. And for me, it just clicked that what is important to do is just to take it, just to, accept and to actually forgive, not in this lofty, I forgive you, but just to forgive by noticing that, wherever in my body those feelings were, that desire for closure was, it's gone. It disappeared. It miraculously disappeared. All that exists is just this sense of sadness and awe and compassion, just complete compassion. Because I want her last years to know love. If she doesn't remember the ugly things anymore, that's good. Like, that's all that I would want. To get kind of woo with it, maybe we do choose every person that we come across, in our life. I chose her, she chose me. This was the incarnation that we made together, and now is the moment of honoring that. The last thing I have to say about this before I go make myself some tea and get a tissue and blow my nose and lie down is that I have also completely changed my idea of what is transgressive. I've been the edgy kid. I went through that very prolonged adolescence.
Yeah, nice outfit. Who are you supposed to be, Cyndi Lauper?
This past year, drove down to visit my mom in a geriatric psychiatric facility. A really bad one. It's got 2 stars. The timing was interesting. We drove down there the day that Venus was stationing to go retrograde, to go into the underworld. And my mom was in this hospital, not just in the hospital, but in a chair, did not move for the entire duration of the Venus retrograde. So yeah, she was in the literal and symbolic underworld, which, just a personal aside, the movements of Venus for me, the retrograde cycle, always has something to do with my mom. Anyway, while I was in that place visiting her and, looking around me at all these other people, I just stayed and sat with her. It was uncomfortable. It was a very uncomfortable place. It was very uncomfortable to see my mom like that, uncomfortable to see other people like that. And it kind of reminded, I don't know, it made so many other things seem petty. Like, everything that, people do to try to say, oh, this is transgressive. Like, nothing is as transgressive as compassion. And that is such a trite thing to say. I still have this, internal reaction where, anything that sounds overly fluffy, I just kind of say, no, that sounds stupid. But it's true. Nothing is as transgressive as compassion. You do not understand what it actually is to be to transgress societal norms and the norms of even your own, what do you want to naturally recoil from, than to go spend a couple hours in a geriatric psychiatric ward to just be present, to witness death, to witness depravity, and to have compassion for people, the people that nobody else wants to touch, to see, to know are there. I had no idea. The full range of what it actually meant to transgress something. And that made me think about, the Igoris, who, everybody loves to talk about, left-hand path, this or that, and sitting in the charnel grounds, but like the Agori do the same thing as nuns do. They care for lepers. Like, the most transgressive thing that you can do is honestly to have compassion for the lowest people, and just to witness and experience life with them when no one else wants to. Nothing else matters. To just have your heart painfully open and patient and receptive, and to willingly go to the places that no one else wants to go, and to feel complete communion with them, and to know we are all of the same stuff. You are beautiful. This moment in your life is beautiful. This stage that you're going through is holy. It is initiatory, and we're all going to go there whether we want to think about it or not. Nothing else comes close to that level of transgressive honesty. Yeah, that's something that really became clear to me lately. Anywho, I'm gonna go find some Tylenol.